math solution, and we are still talking about the various methods we use in solving simultaneous linear equation. In our previous lessons, we've looked at three very important methods, which are the substitution method, we saw the elimination method, and lastly we looked at the matrix method. Now for our lesson today, we are going to look at the Gaussian elimination method, and the first example is on the board. I'm going to explain the Gaussian elimination method step by step, and my goal is to simplify this method so that you can be able to assimilate it and understand it better. Okay, now we have three systems of equation with three variables, and we also have two systems of equation with two variables. The one we are dealing with here now is two systems of equation. That means we have two equations with two variables. In this case, we have A and B. So how do we solve these two equations on the board using our Gaussian method? The very first step we do is to write out the augmented matrix. The augmented matrix. Don't be scared by the name. Okay, what that simply means is to write out the coefficient matrix in line as well as the result value together as one. Okay, so which means now for the first step I'll write out A and B here, and then I will draw my bracket here. Then what is the coefficient of A in both equations? We have 1 and 2. Write it out as 1 and 2. Then the coefficient for B, we have 2, and then we have your what? Minus 3. Now in the matrix method we would have just closed the bracket here, but here in the Gaussian method we need to write the result value alongside the coefficient matrix here. Okay, so what we do now is to draw up the straight line, and then we take the result value 13 and 5 before we now close the bracket. So this is why we call it the augmented what? Matrix. Okay, now don't forget what we are dealing with. We say the Gaussian what? Elimination method, which means this method is similar to the elimination method. Now what do I mean by that? In the elimination method we have to decide on which variable to eliminate, and then we make sure that the coefficients of that variable in both equations are what? Are the same. So here now we are going to eliminate what? A. I always like eliminating the first variable that you see here. So the coefficients now of A in equation 1 and 2, you can see that they are different. Here we have 1, we have 2. So what do? We are going to use this 2 to multiply everything in equation 1, and use this 1 to multiply everything in equation 2. So how do we do that? We take the 2, look at the 2, and we use it to multiply everything we have here. But please, you see that 1, 2, and 13 are elements in the first row. So they are all elements in the first row, while 2 minus 3 and 5 are elements in the what? Second row. So when you use these 2 to multiply 1, 2, and 13, you are actually using it to multiply the elements in the first row. So therefore we say 2 multiplied by arrow 1, and then the signs are same. Using the dash concept, we have to subtract. So we go minus, then we come to this other place, which is the second row. We have to use this 1 to multiply everything in the second row. So we say 1 times row 2, and the essence of this is so that we can arrive at a second row. Now what I'm going to do now is to write this out in a simple form for you to understand. Everything I've written here, I'm going to put it out, I'm going to lay it out here. Okay, so now we draw up our second bracket here. Then 2 times everything in row 1 will become 2 times 1, we have 2. 2 times 2, we have 4. Then we put up our result value. 2 times 13 will give us what? 26. So it's as though we are repeating our elimination method. Okay, that is the idea behind this. Now we have to subtract that after we've gotten the value for the second row. Now in the second row here we have an invisible one multiplying into the element in the second row. The element in the second row are 2 minus 3 and 1, so and 5. So 1 times 2 will give us 2, 1 times minus 3 will give us minus 3, and 1 times 5 will give us 5. So you can see now that we are going towards to eliminate this by subtracting it using what we have here. So what we are going to do now is that anything we subtract here, we are going to have it as the second row while still retaining the first row. So I'm going to put up the second row here. That is the result for our subtraction. I'm going to write it out here. So 2 minus 2 is what? 0. Then 4 minus, don't forget there's an invisible minus sign that we are using here. Okay, 4 minus minus 3 will give us 7. Then we'll write our result value 26 minus 5 will give us 21. So so this value we have here is where we are going to start our work from. I believe you understood each and every one of these steps. Okay, now don't forget this 0 is under A, while this 7 is under B. Then the 21 you are seeing here is the result value. So let's take this up here and continue with what we are doing. Now what does this mean? It means that the result here, we don't have any value for A, but the next value here is for B. That is, we are having 7B, and we write out the 7B to equals 21. That's what it means. So at this point now we divide both sides by 7, and if we do so, we are going to obtain the value for B as 3. So that is the first value we are getting for B. Now we have gotten the value for B, all right, as 3. We are going to come up to the first rule that we have here, okay, where we have 1, 2, and 13, and write out the equation. Okay, so it means therefore we are going to have A plus 2B then equals to what? 13. That is what it means. Now we are going to take this step, one more step here. Our A still remains where it is, then plus 2 into bracket what? 3, and that gives us 13. We are going to send these values up to continue what we are doing there. So here we have A plus 2 times 3 will give us 6 equals to what? 13. So A will become, if we send our plus 6 to the other side, is going to give us 13 minus 6, and there you have it. The value for A will become 7. So therefore we have A as 7 and we have B as 3. So that is how you use your Gaussian method to solve a simultaneous linear equation. I believe you enjoyed this lesson, and please like this video and leave a comment in the comment box, and please also subscribe if you have not done so already. Don't forget to click the bell icon and to get notified when the next video comes up. Thank you for your time. I will see you in my next lesson.